Hello, everyone. First of all, I would like to say welcome to all of you, and thank you so much to all of you for being here today. I hope you all are doing well, and it's so nice to see all of you again and to have this uh, opportunity to do the Dharma teachings and practice together. Um, I also would like to say thank you to Bodhicitta Sangha's new board members and who are offering all their helps and making everything is ready. And I also would like to say thank you to all of those people who have helped Bodhicitta Sangha over the years, and especially Mary and Kate, um, who have transitioned off our board over the last year, but for so many years, both of them have spent countless hours and helping make these teachings possible for everyone. Uh, Mary has navigated our finances, including donations, operating costs, and um, record keeping, which has been essential in allowing Bodhicitta Sangha to grow and to continue. And Kate has developed a website, published texts, and coordinated the teaching schedules and practice interviews. So we have the resources we need to practice. So both of them did great job for so many years voluntarily, since I started this Sangha, Bodhicitta Sangha. They both did great job. So therefore, we would like to thank them from the depths of our heart for their sustained commitment to Bodhicitta Sangha and the Dharma teachings. So in appreciation of all this work, we have gifts for each of them that I would like to share today. Uh, for Mary, we have I'll show you beautiful statue of, can you see? I think the Avalokiteshvara, the compassion Buddha. So may every day be filled with compassion and bodhicitta. Uh, and for Kate, we have a beautiful statue of Mother Tara, and may all Dharma wishes be fulfilled. So thank you so much for all your generosity and support over these many, many years, and worked really so many hours for Bodhicitta Sangha and for Dharma teachings. So I hope you enjoy this small gift of appreciation on behalf of Bodhicitta Sangha. So thank you very much. That's all I want to say before the teaching start. Now, the topic for today's teaching is called the Song of Victory by Khenchen Jigme Phuntsok. For this year, now we are going to start have a teaching every month. So I chose this teaching. It's because, as you know, everyone faces difficulties and have all these obstacles around the world and unhappinesses, So I hope if we practice and study this teaching together as a Sangha with a great motivation, I really believe it will be very beneficial for everyone. So the song of victory was a Bajra Toha, which means an indestructible treasure song. Khenchen Jigme Phuntsok, as you know, he devoted his entire life to all sentient beings and Tibetan Buddhism. That's all. His whole life. When he established the Larong University, of course, there were so many outer and inner challenges and obstacles. But he never gave up and went through dispelling all the internal and external obstacles. One time, I was at Larongar. He got really sick, and so he had to go to a hospital in Chengdu in China. And he lived there for 5 months. And during that time, one night, according to his biography, one night he had a dream, and in his dream, the great master Mapun Rinpoche came, which, like he had a great connection and unchangeable faith in Mapun Rinpoche. So Mapun Rinpoche came into his dream and prayed to Pamasambhava for him in order to dispel all these outer inner obstacles. And amazingly, after this dream, he began to recover slowly, and then eventually he returned to Larongar. And all his students gave him a very special sort of welcome back ceremony. I clearly remember everybody's happiness at that moment. It was incredible because we had not seen him for 5 months, and it was really hard. And then he said, we should celebrate for everybody's happiness, not just for me. And we should call it victory celebrating. And then on the 21st of September in 1996, in front of thousands of his disciples, and he sang this song, like fluently, and they record it. That's how Teju revealers do the teachings, right? So it's called the Song of the Divine Drum at a Time of Victory. That's the title of this teaching. Divine drum reference, a part of the as you know, the six realms, when the divine gods defeat the demigods, right? Win a battle. When they do that, they beat the victory drum. Or it has a different meaning. Or, in Tibetan Buddhism, like drums are often used in rituals to invoke deities for, when there are lots of obstacles, inner, outer, secret obstacles, we use that, right? So ritual. So similarly, when Khenchen Jigme Phuntsok dispelled all the obstacles. He made this beautiful the victory song at the right time and right place. Um, so this is among his teachings. He considered this is the most important, very important one. So this is the Dharma song from a Teja revealer. As you know, Khenchen Jigme Phuntsok was a Teja revealer, right? And therefore, it has a great blessing because it's the firm enlightened realization. So after that, Khenchen Jigme Phuntsok requested all his disciples to teach or chant the Song of Victory at least once before they teach or study Dharma teachings so that, any obstacles can be dispelled and it protects them from encountering any obstacles. So since then, when Khenchen Jigme Phuntsok gave us teachings, to begin with, we recited this song every single day since then. So as a student of his, we should treasure it and try to understand its profound meaning, and we should practice it as much as we can. If you want, you can recite this Bajra Toha, the Song of Victory, before you practice, before you meditate. It takes like 3 minutes if you want. So that is the sort of background of this Bajra Toha, this song, this text. And it is very short, but very profound. The study of short text such as this, containing a great instructions, like oral instructions. So it's good for all Buddhist Dharma practitioners. So this song is very precious, and he has summarized all the teachings of Buddha into this wonderful victory song. And all the oral instructions based on his experience, based on his realization. So he requested that anyone who relied upon him should memorize this song and chanted it all the time. So having said that, now the song starts with an homage to Manjushri. It says, every youthful and glorious Manjushri, embodiment of the wisdom of all the Buddhas, remain forever upon the eight-petaled lotus in my heart and make whatever I say beneficial to all sentient beings. So I will also give you the written transmission. I received this directly from him, so that if you want to practice in the future, you have the blessings and transmission. In Tibetan, yang dab je pamisim la ngunjar kan yishi jingdi ke jenjang war yon tak yu ni tam ni zhen la member zot. That's exactly how we recite. Uh, so here this is in homage to Manjushri because, as you know, Khenchen Jigme Phuntsok regarded Manjushri as his main uh, deity and protector because, according to his biography, he recited the Manjushri mantra after he was born. Uh, and also, like, he had visions of Manjushri many times since his childhood. Um, and when he went to China, the Manjushri, the place, the mountain. At that time, he had a vision of Manjushri. There's another teaching, like Teja teaching, that's blessed by Manjushri. So this, his Manjushri is kind of his main deity, is demonstrate his extraordinary faith in Manjushri. So here he's praised to Manjushri for whatever he say, whatever he do, beneficial to all sentient beings. Uh, and Manjushri will remain in his heart and blessing his mind so that as he said, his words and his teachings can benefit all sentient beings. Um, and he also, often emphasized that Dharma practitioners should uh, practice and chant Manjushri's mantra and pray to him, uh, the embodiment of the wisdom of all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, right? Manjushri. And in this here, it says, remain forever upon the eight-petaled lotus in my heart. It has different meanings in Vajrayana teachings. Sometimes it's very complicated. So I'm not going to discuss those in detail here, but in Vajrayana Buddhism, the eight-petaled lotus holds profound sort of symbolic meaning. And according to the Vajrayana, our heart has eight petals, which are the subtle channels around the essence of the heart, and at the center channel of it, there are these pure essence. And in this essence, there is the heart essence, right? Which is often in Vajrayana teaching, the ultimate Manjushri in this case, or you can also call like the nature of mind. And all this is explained within the Vajrayana practice in very detail. Sometimes, each petal corresponds to specific sort of deities and elements and directions and the purity of nature and so on and so forth. Eight petal lotus means a lot. I mean, in Vajrayana teachings, it's just a lot. But when we practice a deity, uh, sometimes we visualize the eight petal lotus in our hearts, right? And then the deity sits on it. And then we practice when we meditate, right? Say the mantras, prayers like that. Sometimes we visualize the deities in front of us. Um, So it depends on the situation. Different teachings and practice have different visualizations. But here we visualize, if you want to practice, this teaching, you visualize Manjushri sits on the Edpada lotus in your heart as a main protector. And then you pray Manjushri's blessing in order to benefit all. It's so different, maybe you have done this, but when you meditate, either your root teachers or hidden deities, and sort of you just visualize them, and they sit in your heart. Um, and then if you remember that, it makes your heart really sort of warm. And it's just like whatever you do with your activities during the day, if you remember the deity or whatever your root teachers, it's just inseparable with your heart. And then the words you say when you speak, it's so gentle, makes you like really mindful, and that's what we call blessing. So it's very important. Like when you practice Guru Yoga, at the end, then you sort of let the Guru dissolve into your heart and then sit there like forever, inseparable from your heart. And then whatever you do during the day, it's your heart is kind of beneficial, which means like your activity is like really meaningful and positive. That's what they do. That's what we call blessing. So that's that's this the first homage, the text, the verse. Now the next verse is about encouragement to practice the great perfection. It says, the great perfection, the most profound path, simply to hear the words of its essence can break the roots of samsara. Meditation on its key point, achieve liberation within 6 months. So let this alone penetrate into your heart. Lam yang za wo san yang bo ye tsu tu bi de za ro hit na de gom na da tu ki tur de ko na nyang kwa re dem. In Tibetan, it's just so beautiful, this song. Unfortunately, when you translate into English, then all this beauty is gone. It's just there is essential meaning here. That's there. That's a good thing, but it's not like when you chant it. It's so different in Tibetan, but it's beautiful. So here he encourages, like the great perfection is, as you know, the essential teaching in Tibetan Buddhism, particularly within the Nyingma tradition, and from, the Dzogchen master, Garab Dorji, and were transmitted to Tibet through Gurupama Sambhawa, Bimala Mutta, through all these masters. The word's great perfection refers to the realization of the natural primordial state of being, which is already perfect, right? That's why it's called great perfection. So this practice is not about creating or attaining something new, but directly recognizing and resting in the natural state of awareness, Rigpa, the mind. Because the essence of mind is always present, perfect, even when obscured by all these conceptual thoughts, right? Therefore, it is the most profound practice, profound path, and Some other texts is also called liberation through hearing, right? It means those with great capacities, with strong faith, and those who practice its essence diligently and practice with oral instructions are able to attain liberation within 6 months. That's and Muhammad would say, in this degenerate age time, human beings have strong afflictions, emotions, which cannot be easily eliminated by other dharma methods and teachings, but they can eliminate it through practice of Dzogchen, practice of the great perfection. So here it says, simply to hear the words of the great perfection will break the roots of samsara. When you see this, you may think then, we should receive only the Dzogchen teachings, the great perfections, because just hearing the words of Dzogchen can break the roots of samsara, the suffering of samsara, or liberation through hearing, or liberate within 6 months. Then why not? We should just receive only the Dzogchen teachings, nothing else. As Muhammad says, in this degenerate time, it's difficult to eliminate all these negative thoughts and emotions through other Dharma practice, then why not? But, that's, traditionally, we are not allowed to teach Dzogchen teachings to everyone, especially those who are skeptical about Vajrayana and who don't have a good foundation. It's because it could be misunderstood its meanings in many ways. So in order to receive the Dzogchen teachings, we need good conditions. We need to cultivate the proper discipline, devotion, and understanding. It requires profound dedication and stable foundation. Without a solid foundation, practitioners may, misuse Dzogchen methods and develop a sort of, mistaken view. And in the Dzogchen tradition, in order to teach Dzogchen teachings, a teacher must have genuine recognition of the nature mind to, authentically transmit its teachings. And this transmission depends on the teacher's realization and also depends on the student's condition, faith. And this recognition is not just intellectual understanding the teachings, but a direct and experiential realization of the natural state of awareness. Without this recognition, Dzogchen teachings risk becoming empty sort of concepts and words or misleading sort of interpretation. And also a genuine Dzogchen teacher should belong to a pure lineage and have received the authorization and transmissions from their teachers. For example, when Pamasambhava came to Tibet, he taught Dzogchen teachings very secretly. And after that, Vimalamutta came to Tibet and also taught Dzogchen teachings secretly. And after that, Longchenpa came and he kept Dzogchen teachings secretly as well. So this transition is not only depend on teacher's realization, it's equally important for students to approach the teachings with faith and diligent practice. And the Dzogchen teaching, the Kanto Nyingma Dzogchen teaching says a person with perfect conditions can attain liberation within 6 months. But, and this teaching also said that person has to go through all the different stages at each month with a qualified teacher in order to liberate themselves within 6 months. That's one way. But there are many different ways to liberate ourselves through the Dzogchen practice, this practice, besides just within 6 months. But here in Khenchen Jigme Phuntsok really encourages us, if you are ready and have this solid foundation and have a genuine sort of qualified teacher, then yeah, this is profound teaching and path. So you should practice that. Now, the next verse is the benefits of Dzogchen teachings, of course. It says, those with great fortune encounter such supreme teaching. This is a sign of having gathered merit over many eons in the past and provides an opportunity equal to that of Samantabhadra. So rejoice, my dear heart friends. Tunda dan trapikar zang cho hun karma cho sa la ji te parakanda zang dan karwa nyam tu gawara chi shing hyang zho nam. So the benefits of Dzogchen teaching are Dzogchen practitioners can recognize they are already present sort of this enlightenment without needing to rely on extensive intellectual study or ritual practice or this deity practice or visualizations, all this. You don't need any of that, right? Because Dzogchen practitioners cultivate a profound relaxation into their innate nature, which is free from all thoughts and emotions. That's what we call it enlightened mind. So Khenchen Jigme Phuntsok says, those with the great fortune. It refers to those who have received the Dzogchen teachings correctly with a qualified teacher, with through the pure lineage, is a similar karmic circumstance with Samantabhadra. Samantabhadra here refers, meaning is just your nature mind. Not there is no such thing as a like human being Buddha Samantabhadra, right? So Samantabhadra is the innate nature. So therefore he said, rejoice, all my dear Dharma friends, and put it into your heart. The similar, Longchenpa also said that since we have encountered the Dzogchen teachings in this lifetime, we must have made a karmic connections to Pamasambhava in our past lives and have also been Pamasambhava's follower, disciples. And this is also a result of accumulating merit over many lifetimes. This is what we're saying, the benefits of Dzogchen teaching. It's not just you hear the Dzogchen teachings, or read some Dzogchen books, not like that. But if you really recognize the Dzogchen teachings, your nature mind, you have opportunity, you're fortunate enough to meet all these great teachings, and you have tremendous sort of unchangeable devotion in it. That kind of person we're talking here. Not just like, otherwise, these days, unfortunately, you can hear Dzogchen teachings everywhere. You can read Dzogchen books everywhere. It's not like before. Like right now, it's just everywhere. Dzogchen teaching is no longer secret. That's why we are losing the value of it. The blessings, we are losing it. But this one is like, when Longchenpa's time, right? Pamasambhava's time, Dzogchen teachings, you can't find anywhere, only from this great teachers. So that's kind of people we're talking here. So that's Longchenpa, Mapon Rinpoche, and Khenchen Jigme all said, like, you accumulate merit over many lifetimes because now you have this opportunity, which is really amazing. Like, it's so profound meditation, but it's so simple, So Longchenpa also said, if you are that kind of person, you're a fortunate person, then you will definitely accomplish your Dzogchen realization in this person lifetime, and if you practice it wholeheartedly. So that's the simple sort of explanation of the benefit of Dzogchen teachings and how to receive them from a teacher, and how you sort of develop and build a solid foundation in order to receive the Dzogchen teaching. So please keep it in your mind. Now, other thing is as you see here, this teaching, this victory song is very similar to the three principal aspects of the path written by Lama Tsongkhapa. It's just almost the same. The actual explanation of this text is also divided into three sections, right? The first explanation of the correct view of Dzogchen, the great perfection. Then second, we have here the explanation of the correct meditation on Bodhicitta. And then the third explanation of the correct conduct of renunciation and develop good personality, good characters. So these are very similar, which is the essence of Buddhist teachings. So if one of these points is missing, there is no other way to reach liberation or benefits all other beings. So that's why Khenchen Jigme Phuntsok requested all of us to practice this victory song. It's including everything, So that's the sort of the essence of this sort of this teaching. Now the next verse is Khenchen Jigme Phuntsok, encouraging generating bodhicitta. It says, for the sake of all sentient beings wandering in the suffering of samsara, by leading them to a state of lasting happiness, take on the responsibility of benefiting others, and avoid the poisonous food of self-cherishing. 你这个容可sem chen nam tan de ye sala o yong shir yan pan je sam chi kur de yi rang jin zan ha li si bien tor. I love this verse. Uh, Here Khenchen Jigme Phuntsok says we must take responsibility and generate bodhicitta in order to help other sentient beings, eliminate our ego, and guide others to achieve the ultimate peace and happiness. And we must get rid of our selfishness as much as possible while we have this opportunity. We're so fortunate. And he also said, selfish mind is like a poisonous food. So we should eliminate it. So that's the reasons for generating bodhicitta. There was a sort of story in the past. There was a teacher called Ralozawa, a great teacher. And when he was meditating on his, like Vajrayana, his deity in a quiet place, and he felt that he had wanted to be in this kind of solitary retreat all of his life. But then one day, he in his dream, the deity told him, "You should go out and benefit other beings. Then your, how do I say, your merits will be much greater than diligently meditating on your deity and this retreat for rest of your life or for many years." So he had a kind of dream, and that is just not just whatever you do, your practice, whatever, not just for, it shows, not yourself, right? So this is for all sentient beings. Remember, Shantideva said, all the joys this world has come through wishing happiness for others. All the suffering in the world has come through wanting happiness for oneself alone. So therefore, we must not allow our selfish to take over our bodhicitta kind mind, because bodhicitta allows all our actions to become Dharma, authentic Dharma, and the cause of liberation. Therefore, what I really want is a person who wants to practice Tibetan Mahayana Buddhism should practice bodhicitta wholeheartedly, and have a genuine bodhicitta. That's why, I always teach bodhicitta and let them practice a kind mind. And I truly believe this is the real purpose of life, the real meaning of life, because it brings experience of inner peace and happiness. So we should never give it up. And Khenchen Jigme Phuntsok says selfishness is like a poison, which is an excellent metaphor that we should contemplate on it all the time. We should avoid the poison of selfishness that will harm both ourselves and others. So before sort of any act, we have to ask ourselves, is this for my personal gain, or does it also consider others? Don't misunderstand. Being selfless doesn't mean ignoring your own needs. Taking care of yourself, so that taking care of your mind, so that you can support others more effectively. And we should recognize that selfish actions might bring sort of short-term pleasure, but lead to long-term really harm both ourselves and others. Selfishness action like a poisonous food, can harm relationships and take away this inner peace and happiness. So therefore, like for example, when we practice bodhicitta, first we practice generosity, right? When we help others without expecting anything in return, such acts naturally change focus from self to others. That's why when we practice generosity with the bodhicitta mind, that will happen. So we should recognize that no one achieves success or happiness alone without others. And through, selfless actions, you cultivate joy, deeper connections, and a life that benefits both yourselves and others. And Khenchen Jigme Phuntsok said the very root of our unhappiness is selfishness, and it's also dissatisfaction. As you know, most human beings are never satisfied with what they have. Therefore, there is no peace and happiness. Yesterday, I was thinking that, sometimes our human beings are worse than animals. Like they only want just food and a place to live. That's all they want. We some people have 60, 50, 60 cars and still not happy with it. And our dissatisfaction is incredible. We want everything that we never use, So if we don't recognize our dissatisfaction, and if we don't recognize it is the root of our unhappiness, then there is no way to find peace and happiness. So having satisfaction in our mind is the main causes of happiness. Think about this. When we are born without bringing anything with us, right? And of course, when we die without taking anything with us. But in the between life and death, in this very short period of time, there is no satisfaction, which brings sort of tremendous unhappiness into our lives. Unfortunately, we are always dissatisfied, and we fought for what we cannot take with us when we die. So recognizing this and practice bodhicitta, we can develop some satisfaction. That's why I love bodhicitta, practice bodhicitta. And the purpose of spiritual practice is to fulfill our desire for happiness. Okay? Now the next verse is the reasons for generating bodhicitta. It says, this blocks the gate to lower realms, allows you to attain the happiness of higher realms, and eventually leads you to the ultimate liberation from samsara without being distracted at all take this essential practice. Mangandu gomprandai go kontori de wandai den tartarwi kamsandai hinelo mama nyam jindalanzut. So here in Khenchen Jigme Phuntsok says every Dharma practitioners must practice this essential teaching without distraction. As you know, we are all equal and wishing to be happy, overcome suffering, right? So this practice will increase our inner strength and courage, and all negative karma can be eliminated in our mind. As a result, the doors to lower realms are blocked. If you believe, the moment bodhicitta arises in your mind, your negative karma is purified, period. Then there would be no chance of falling into the lower realms, and the suffering of samsara will end. As soon as bodhicitta arises in your mind, there is no samsara, meaning there is no suffering. So the Buddha discovered that bodhicitta would bring the most benefit to all living beings. So we must try our best to generate bodhicitta before we die, so that we will not take in rebirth in lower realms. So therefore, Khenchen Jigme Phuntsok encourages all of us to cultivate bodhicitta and practice this essential teaching, he said, without being distracted at all. That means don't get distracted wondering whether I should practice this or that, how long I should practice. So here, he basically, when he gave this teaching, he basically said that just to focus on this until you develop in your mind. Don't think too much, just to practice only bodhicitta until you develop in your mind. So meditate on bodhicitta for at least one section every day. I hope you do. I always say that. Just never give up. Sometimes, our meditation not good, sometimes good. Doesn't matter. It just do it. Meditate bodhicitta for at least one section every single day. Now, the next verse is encouragement to practice renunciation. I'm not going to talk a lot of bodhicitta because we haven't teaching this the way of bodhisattva is common, and I always talk about bodhicitta, as you know. So that's enough for today here. But now the next verse is about practice the renunciation, and it says, towards all the luxuries and enjoyments of samsara, do not have any thought of desire. Observe pure dharma discipline as the supreme adornment, the greatest source of reverence for gods and other beings alike. Yarang korwe pansong tada la yid mombe sambal hopo nga to lar chin ro win cho don cho chun da tim jan jin cho da song. Okay, so the renunciation in Buddhism, as you know, refers to cultivating a deep sense of letting go of attachment and worldly sort of desires, right? Again, it doesn't mean rejecting life or your possessions entirely, right? But rather transforming your relationship with them. So renunciation begins with realizing that worldly attachments and desires will lead you to dissatisfaction, which is the cause of suffering. A life of renunciation is contentment and simplicity. These allows practitioners to minimize distractions and create space for inner peace. So renunciation in Buddhism, renunciation is about finding a middle way with sort of less stress, anxiety, and dissatisfaction. Renunciation is developing gratitude for what you have instead of seeking more and more and endless desires. One time, Khenchen Jigme Phuntsok told us that it will be difficult to completely eliminate your desire. But it's important to understand the suffering of samsara and understand the recognition of the impermanence of life and have less desire in your mind. So the best way to practice the renunciation mind is, as you know, contemplating on the four thoughts that change the mind. Because then the true renunciation will arise in your mind. That's why my teachers always, the outer preliminary, the four thoughts that change your mind is no matter what, if you are great Dzogchen practitioners, you still need to contemplate on these four thoughts. If you don't have a renunciation mind, then you don't have the motivation to practice Dharma. If you don't have a renunciation mind, then you are always depend on your desires. And as long as you follow your desire, then there is no satisfaction in your mind, which is the cause of unhappiness. Because no matter how much we follow desire, we won't get satisfaction. That's just the nature of the selfish desire. It brings dissatisfaction, and that brings unhappiness. I mean, this is just logic, right? You don't have to, in order to understand this, you don't have to believe in Buddhism. You don't have to, and faith in devotion Buddhism. That this is just logic. If you don't have satisfaction, the selfish desire brings dissatisfaction. And dissatisfaction brings unhappiness. If you investigate, you will see it, you will understand it. So in summary, renunciation in Buddhism is about freeing the mind from desire, allowing us to experience profound peace and liberation. And it's a practice of training in world, letting go of distractions and focus on what truly leads to happiness and freedom. As you know, in Buddhism, the true happiness is not found in money, success, relationships, and achievements, and so on and so forth. But it is something we can find inside of ourselves. Such a simple but very powerful idea. Buddhist practice often encourages minimizing self-centered activities, reducing attachment to selfish desires. By the way, we're talking here about desire. Not all the desire has different meanings in different kinds of desires, but we're talking here selfish desires that brings us unhappiness and suffering, right? And by focusing less on ourselves and have a simple life, simple life. A simple life, again, doesn't mean you cut off all desires or everything you like to do. It doesn't mean that. It's nothing wrong to, desire the essential we need to keep us alive, necessary. But pursuing only selfish desires can harm us. So there are two types of desire, right? Desire based on wisdom, compassion, love, bodhicitta is beneficial. But desire based on attachment, craving, ignorance is harmful. So I think we should begin with learn how to be content with a simple life. It means living with a sort of minimal attachment and craving, and focus instead on what truly matters, like inner peace, meaningful life, and focusing more on others with no satisfaction, but have more desires motivated by compassion, generosity, and wisdom. That kind of desire lead to serve others meaningfully. I can tell you there is one great example of this. Someone who focuses less on himself and more on others. We have in Tibet a teacher called Khenchen Jigme. He is working tirelessly, almost like day and night for others. Like try to save Tibetan culture, save Tibetan language, save environment, save animals' lives, and try to save Buddhism. He focuses also like modern issues such as like mental health. Especially he educated Tibetan women. So he tried to educate everybody, including Tibetan children. He wrote like this Tibetan children books. I mean, it's just incredible. He created different groups for different educations, different reasons. And of course, there are so many obstacles and challenges, but he never gave up. For himself, he has a very, very simple life. But for others, he works tirelessly. That's exactly what Buddha wanted his followers to do. Simple life for yourself and focus on others and work for them tirelessly. I mean, I have never seen like that kind of Buddhist teacher who really faces significant restrictions on him, sort of his freedoms. His freedom is like limited in Tibet. You know that, right? And his actions are constantly under control. But he never give up, no matter what challenges, and difficulty. Dzogchen said something like, if we have a few more teachers like Khenchen Jigme, then the Bodhicitta can retire. I mean, it's true, but it's not good time to let Buddha retire. So please work for us, right? And until we become like Khenchen Jigme. Anyway, that's a great example. Like he focused on others, like day and night, and for himself, just so simple life. That's that. And then now the next verse is this is about the fault of breaking precepts, right? Yeah. It says, since all the temporary and ultimate happiness result from observing the pure precept, and breaking precepts lead one to take rebirth in lower realms, you must make the right choice and not fall into confusion. Jirungon to ngilang tada ge di huar gen de la din ni jo da nyam na ngan ren ta min chem rang go man kar lang der zot. Here Khenchen Jigme Phuntsok talks about precepts. It's because, someone who really want to practice these three principles, right? The right view, the great perfection, the right meditation, bodhicitta, and the right conduct, renunciation. These three essential practice that person needs to take refuge vows, bodhisattva vows, and receive in Vajrayana sort of empowerment and tantric vows, right? So if you want to practice these three essential meditation, practice, then you at least like you have to take refuge vows, for example, right? So if you take, these sort of three vows and three precepts, then break them as a result, you don't have true renunciation, bodhicitta. You don't have the recognition of the nature mind. And if you break this precept and don't confess them completely, you will definitely suffer in this life and fall into lower realms in the future. That's what Khenchen Jigme Phuntsok said. Breaking precepts can lead to guilt, regret, or sense of disconnection from your practice. So it's not good. So once you take the vows, you have to keep the precepts. As long as you have a certain level of renunciation mind, as I said, which is desire to practice Dharma, desire to achieve enlightenment, then, it's really necessary to take at least the refuge vows and keep the precept. Keeping the pure precept in Buddhism, involves practice and mindfulness, ethical discipline, and genuine sort of intention, and keep your commitment. But, keeping the precept can be challenging due to the culture and your lifestyle differences. People often talk about, like freedom and personal choices in the West. Therefore, people may see the vows and precepts as a religious kind of rule rather than methods for cultivating mindfulness and self-discipline. So if you take vows, then it's important to understand meaning it's important also to sort of join in a sangha that shares sort of similar values and inspirations. So that's why, like when you take refuge vows, um, you have to belong at the sangha because that helps your practice, your keep your pure precept, right? The vows. The point of vows and precepts in Buddhism is provide a foundation for living harmoniously with others and reducing harm others, such as killing, stealing, and so on and so forth. When you like take the vows, it helps you sort of reducing harm others, not just a religious rule. Precepts and vows encourage, self-reflection and a commitment to act from compassion and wisdom rather than from hatred and jealousy, you know. So therefore, there are methods for transforming your mind, transforming the mind. Without understand a deep knowledge of Buddhist teachings, people may misunderstand the purpose of precepts and vows. So people really should study them with a teacher to understand the deeper meaning of the precepts and vows, and then how to apply them effectively in your daily life, and adopt a gradual approach and integrating the precepts step by step rather than trying to follow them all at once. So a practitioner makes the right choices in his or her own conduct, and that's why Khenchen Jigme Phuntsok said, does not deceive oneself and fall into confusion. Right? These days when teacher came to West and people go there, receive empowerment without understanding meaning, without this teacher, and you take this precept, you have the vow. That's what Khenchen Jigme Phuntsok said, don't do that, Don't fall into confusion. Before you take any kind of precept or vow, you have to first understand deep meaning of it, right? And then it's your personal choice. Just go step by step, Don't try everything and follow them all at once. So keeping the pure precept has become sort of, I think, more and more difficult in this sort of degenerate time. So you should be careful in making these choices and not fall into any confusion. That's exactly what Khenchen Jigme Phuntsok said here in this stanza, okay? Then the next verse is he advised to develop good personalities and good characters. It says, always be in harmony with friends in attitude and deed, and exert yourself in cultivating sincerity and kind-heartedness. Even if you seek your own best interest in the long term, the method is still to benefit others. This is the instruction. Tikunda samchit togdan jid tong hyang sambakarla zon pugranden jashir dumda de chansar yan pan hipamangagayin. In Buddhism, Dharma practitioners require a good personality, and especially we have to develop these three principal practice based on a good personality, good characters, because without a pure attitude, then making any progress in our Dharma practice will be very difficult. So therefore, Khenchen Jigme Phuntsok wanted to us to know how to important how how important it is in this sort of essential teaching to have good personality. So therefore, now we have to focus on that. And um, it says always be in harmony with friends in attitude, right? In good attitude. What are pure and good attitude? He said, always be in harmony with friends in attitude indeed. So from a worldly perspective or spiritual perspective, a person with good characteristics gets along harmoniously with everyone. And especially we as Dharma practitioners must always get along with our Dharma friends and with others, meaning our family members, our friends and relatives, and so on and so forth. Um, and here he also said, exert yourself in cultivating sincerity and kind-heartedness. Cultivating sincerity and kind-heartedness requires consistent self-reflection practice, right? For example, reflect on why you act or speak in certain ways. You need to sort of take time each day to reflect on your actions and your thoughts. Spend time with people who are kind and learn from their actions and their attitudes, and engage with teachings that inspire this kind of qualities. Engage in activities that benefit others without sort of seeking recognition, and recognize that cultivating sincerity and kind-heartedness is for Dharma practitioners sort of continuous journey. So we have, be patient with yourself and sort of celebrate small victories and recommit to your practice, your values in daily, and take responsibility for your actions and learn from mistakes. And remember, whatever you say and do, you must be kind and be reliable, and offer help when others need. That's how we should develop good personalities. So Khenchen Jigme Phuntsok advised us keep in our minds these three things here, right? Harmony with friends, honesty or sincerity, and kind-heartedness. These three. In order to develop our good characters and personality, we have to keep these three things in our mind. And then the last important part of his advice is, he says, even if you seek your own best interest in the long term, the method is still to benefit others. This is the instruction. I think this instruction is very important to understand, to keep in your mind. So seeking your own best interest in the long term by benefiting others is not only a good instruction, but also very practical wisdom. In Buddhism, we believe that all beings are interconnected, right? So helping others, no matter big or small, creates a good connection that eventually returns to you. And strong positive relationships lead to mutual success and long-term sort of well-being. But if we harm those around us for our own happiness, for pursuing our own goals, we will not be able to make that goal, because this selfishness can damage our relationships, our reputations. We always have a problem with our friends and our families and like that, our Dharma brothers and sisters. We don't have a problem, really a big problem, the people we don't know, right? We have a problem with the people who are very important in our lives. We have a problem. So that's really sort of unfortunate. But I think if we keep these sort of instructions in our mind and reflect on them and remember the meaning and, all that, I think it will help to develop um, the relationships and everything. So, therefore, Khenchen Jigme Phuntsok, this is really sort of important, I think, instruction. Again, I want to say, like he says, even if you seek your own best interest, everybody, right? We want that, right? In the long term, the method is still to benefit others. See, this you should remember. We should remember that this instruction is really unique, because it is. I think it will help us tremendously. Um, so, benefiting others for the sake of our own benefit and for our own happiness, then we must not have negative attitudes, bad thoughts towards others, meaning like towards our friends, our family, you know. Even if we cannot have a really pure and sort of kind mind, Khenchen Jigme Phuntsok said that we should at least try to be kinder to other beings for our own happiness, our own advantage. So I think this is very important to keep in your mind. Because when you help others, even for your own benefit, they are more likely to help you in return, and creating a sort of this cycle of mutual benefit if you do that, right? This can lead to opportunities, support, and resources that further your long-term goals. So I think, ask yourself how your actions can help others while also benefiting with your goals. So in summary, pursuing your best interest through actions that benefit others is very wise. And when we, study the Dharma, if we don't realize how important it is to have good characteristics, we will not be able to achieve any kind of practice. So Khenchen Jigme Phuntsok required that anyone who studies at Larongar must follow three rules. I remember this, of course. The first is to develop a pure attitude. There's a good personality. Then second rule is to keep the pure precepts. Third is to listen, contemplate, and meditate on the Dharma teachings. He said, as long as you keep these three rules, you're welcome to stay in Larongar and to study Dharma. One of this rule, you break these rules, you can. So it's really, that's actually here, like this verse talking about. And then now the next verse is, we're talking about the last one, the personality, good characters, right? So here, like he advised the maintaining pure, good personality. So he says, these are the pure standard for being a good person. And the skillful methods of the Buddhas of the past, present, and future. Also, the essence of the four dharmas of attraction. Each of you, my disciples, should never ever forget this. Tondala machutsoma serangwanti samjari tamki lam chudarngu ye nyanka inda mabjid lopzona. So these are the, he said, these are the pure standards for being a good person. It means, as he mentioned before, right? A person who has a good personality, pure action, which is a person who gets along harmoniously with everyone, person who repaying the kindness of parents, their friends, right? Person who having a kind heart, and so on and so forth. Those pure standards for being a good person, right? And he says it is also the part of the most skillful method to attain liberation for all Buddhas of past, present, and future. And the good personality is also, he said, like the essence of the four dharmas of attraction. Four dharmas of attractions are, the first is generosity, which is giving what others like, in order to lead them to trust and a sense of connection. And then second is if sort of this Jemdang Nyambarnawa in Tibetan, meaning affectionate speech, meaning like speaking gentle with kind words in order to lead others to love and happiness. Then the third is beneficial action. It means benefiting others with a good action in order to lead them beneficial sort of motivation and inspiration. And then the last is agreement in purpose. It means working together, sharing sort of common goals, and treating others as equal. That means avoid creating sort of divisions in order to lead them to work together harmoniously and mutual sort of respect. These are also good personality, practice this, So these are the particularly emphasized in Mahayana to guide bodhisattvas in their compassionate sort of efforts to help and benefit others. So through the four dharmas of attraction is very skillful ways to build a harmonious and meaningful sort of relationships and cultivating a positive influence others positively. So these all must be built upon a good personality, right? Um, so therefore, Khenchen Jigme Phuntsok said, each of you, my disciples, should never ever forget this. Uh, what should we not forget? Those advice he mentioned before, right? So never ever, should never ever forget this. This means that his advice he mentioned before. Which is, he said, remember, always be in harmony with friend and attitude and deed, and exert yourself in cultivating sincerity and kind-heartedness. These are, you should never ever forget, because these are the pure standards for being a good person, and also the essence of the four dharmas of attraction. So we should never forget that. Because without this kind of personality, if we cannot be a good person, then all our activities are like, like trees without roots, meaning they will never grow. So we must avoid the influence of bad companions and friends who can really lead us down the wrong path. I mean, it isn't always easy to judge others, but we can see that certain people lead us in the wrong direction. So we must be careful to avoid such negative influence, and must cultivate good friends who help make our life spiritually meaningful. No matter, which path we follow, either the Mahayana or Vajrayana, we need to remember this heart advice and have a harmonious and kind heart, bodhicitta, renunciation, and good personality. This is the meaning of this Vajratoha, the meaning of this victory song. So these four instructions are the essence of all the Dharma teachings. So each of us must keep these sort of essential instructions in our mind. Uh, and, the most important is, I think, believing in yourself. Um, tell yourself, I can grow my practice using sort of these amazing teachings and instructions. I can develop my bodhicitta. I can develop all these good personalities, because when you trust your abilities, making it easier to navigate through difficulties. It's so important. Self-trust can help you grow and create the life you want. Without it, if you don't believe in yourself, if you are confused about your life, then, all this fear, doubt, All these things, can limit your potential, your strength. Remember, Buddha said, you are your own refuge. There is no other refuge. I mean, this tells us believing in ourselves and taking responsibility for our thoughts and actions. That's why Buddha said, you are your own protector. No one else can truly save you from all these life's challenges. You can protect yourself. If you, for example, if you don't practice like bodhicitta and you are believing in Buddhism and prayers and mantras, and you just recite the mantras, prayers, and please, Buddha and Bodhisattvas, please help me grow my bodhicitta. No, there is no way to you can develop your bodhicitta, your renunciation, until you do it. So that's exactly what Buddha said. You are your own refuge. You are your own protector. There's no other refuge. You have to do it. You have to believe in yourself and believe you can eliminate all your negative personalities and believe that you can grow and reach enlightenment. If you don't believe in yourself, then it can create hesitation, doubt, that limits your growth and your potential. It can make you feel powerless, confused. You're confused, and it can make disconnected from your own inner strength, from your own inner this potential and amazing quality that you have. If you feel then you are powerless because you're disconnected with yourself. But the good news is self-belief, I think, can be developed over time through your practice, through your experience. I mean, that's from my own experience. I studied Buddhism so many years. But now sort of I feel that, oh, I can do this. I can I can see kind of smoke. So behind that, there is a beautiful fire. Um, it takes a long time. If you are not patient, if with yourself, and if you are looking for short-term, uh, like a high expectation from your practice, believe me, you're going to fall. You're going to lose everything. You can't do that. You have to be patient with your practice. As Khenchen Jigme Phuntsok said, practice this without all distraction. Means believe in yourself. You practice on this until you experience, like not intellectually. And if you say, I can do this, I know in this life, up and down all the time, challenges, obstacles, inner seeker, outer inner obstacles, but overall, I can do this. I will do everything slowly, better and better if I don't give up. That's how you practice. That's how you achieve it. Think about Malariva's life. He never ever give up. Think about like Khenchen Lodu's life. He's a real, no question, real bodhisattva. the real bodhisattvas, no matter what difficult and challenges, obstacles, they never give up. And they just keep that really their strength and their connection with themselves, right? With a good motivation. So I think that is very important for us. Like, if you believe in yourself, whatever you want in your life, just do it. It's absolutely achievable. But you have to be patient. Uh, you have to keep your commitment. Uh, you have to, practice it or whatever you want without distractions, which means, according to this song, just to do it on, like, for example, practice on bodhicitta alone until you have bodhicitta mind. Don't like try this, try that, and then eventually you have nothing. I mean, you are all over. So you have to keep it in your mind, keep your commitment. Otherwise, constantly changing your mind can make it harder to focus on your decisions. Um, so you have to investigate before you, for example, if you want to grow and practice bodhicitta. That's why Shantadeva was first, he give us the teachings about the benefit of bodhicitta. So you practice that, you study that, then you investigate. Really, if I develop bodhicitta, is this good for my life, good for others? You have to understand that. Once you know it, you really believe it, then don't change your mind until you develop it. If you feel, oh yeah, this bodhicitta, I don't think it's good for me, then you don't have to do it. But once you start, you meditate something, you have to understand its meaning. What is the purpose? What is the benefit? All this, so you have to understand. Then don't change sort of your mind constantly. But sometimes, of course, change your mind is also not necessarily a bad thing. It just depends on the situation. Sometimes you have to change, but most of the time you don't. You should not change, especially like spiritual practice. You have to sort of keep and stick with your practice until you experience. You know, I did that like many times. I changed different things and different deities, prayers, mantras. Then I feel like, oh, I did that, but eventually I have nothing. But if you keep one practice at least a year, see, you know, um, the development, then that's how you, I think, practice. Anyway, now the next verse is the dedication, right? So it says, I dedicate this virtue to all sentient beings. He always, like, whenever he says and he does, everything is just really, all others, not for himself at all. May they transcend in the abyss of samsara. May all my fortunate disciples be sustained with joy and take rebirth in the blissful Pure Land to the west. Tamdani Gavin Rova can Ning Corwe Yonsa leader Wakardan Gavisus Nabderdan Shan the Chevery Show. I Ngang Dun Chongme, that this is another his name, one of his teacher gives him. Then saying these words of advice before an assembly of almost 5,000 Sangha members on the 9th day of the 8th month of the fire red year during the 17th cycle of the Tibetan calendar, when we that teacher and disciple will celebrate in victory over outer, inner, and secret obstacles. May virtue abound. Jiban the naraption jibdin be mesh daje bitsiga dakcha hon lipshino sonsum jimantin be illegal gartin jitis genden ba tom trak nga la nye wa tsam ji wis nga lu dun chong me be churtum lor wa geos. So well done. And from my own experience, I know that these instructions can have a profound effect and create great peace in us, like the create our strength and believe in ourselves and cause peace and happiness, openness, then we can easily know how to relate to others and ourselves with this kind of instructions if we practice together as a Sangha. So I think you should start your daily meditation practice by practicing these instructions, and you should memorize them if you want and recite them whenever you can. This is, as I said, it's just basically this four things, right? Practice great perfection, practice bodhicitta, renunciation, and focus, reflect on your personality. That's all. And now you have also the written transmission that I received directly from himself, Khenchen Jigme Phuntsok. So that's very fortunate. Blessing, great blessing. So I think it's very special. Of course, these are the great foundation of your practice, and also these are the main practice for your enlightenment, if that's your goal. I think that's all. This concludes the short teachings on the victory speech by Khenchen Jigme Phuntsok. So I hope this teaching will benefit you and benefit all other beings. That's all. Now I'm going to stop there, and I'm going to. Some people requested me the prayer, the lineage, the prayer. But I think this today is really fortunate that we have this teaching from Khenchen Jigme Phuntsok. So I will give you the written transmission of his Guru Yoga, include his prayer, okay? The lineage prayer, the Khenchen Jigme Phuntsok. So I will give you the written transmission of his Guru Yoga. This is very short, but another amazing. This is another one. There's stories, but I don't think we have time. So just give you the written transmission. Then if you want to practice, wonderful. If you don't want to practice, that's fine too. Lambanam Jishilim Yukso, Ankordi Chugan Katorik Ronda Manga, Ishiwangilo, or the Jambadur Jela, number chapter, Vivian or Nickerson in the Pantai, Chunchi of the Rad. Shamnijo was a moment or not of Pijan the Lammer, sir, Soran de Panda, Nisharo was in Hangams, Jahor took Jikin Villam, and Jigme Phuntsok Shabla Soran. Gonji Tokpam for Shinji Lo Sokchenisa, Tanalama, Wangi Tilly, Rangichuni, young with Jakin, Chingdi Lama, and Karanin Bikin of Topper Sam. She lonely choking on the Nyambra, same down, Santa Lamang over Titi. Jinji Cholam Lanjubrisha, Shirapson Chub, Dunbi Shang, Pakadawa, to Petsinier. The second John never wants to come to Tanzan Jamsu, round on Lotsola, Pambi, Dundanda, Shikur Manzapa, Timator, Tonjambe, and Charanda, Zulmiti Hera. Keeps and Tuberon, Shuktu Long Tok Jamsu, Yegi by hitting on Lodun Summit. Jinkari and Jatin Chiri went in Nipera Gale. All right, so I think that's all. Today we don't have time for meditate. That's fine. So now we should dedicate recite the dedication prayer, and then we're done.
All right. Closing prayers. May I attain in each and every life the sublime virtues of existence and peace. May I pursue the flawless mindset of altruism, working for the welfare of others on a vast scale. Through this very merit of mine, may every single sentient being eliminate all forms of negativity and practice virtue forevermore. May supreme precious Bodhicitta take birth where it has not arisen. Where it has arisen, may it never wane, but continue to grow forevermore. For as long as space exists, for as long as beings endure, until then may I too remain to dispel the suffering of all beings. May I, in all my lives, no matter where I am born, obtain the 7 qualities of the upper realms of existence. May I meet the Dharma immediately after taking birth and have the freedom to practice perfectly. May I please the sublime gurus and day and night dedicate myself to the Dharma. By realizing the Dharma and practicing its innermost essence, may I cross the ocean of conditioned existence in this very life. May I teach the sublime Dharma perfectly and never become weary and tired of benefiting others in samsara. By my own impartial and all-encompassing activities to benefit others, may all attain enlightenment together. Pre, in the divine mandala, where all that appears and exists is utterly pure, you, the sovereign of all the Buddha families and teacher of the Tantras, mature and liberate the 3 gates into their Vajra nature. Vajra King, may you ever remain. Within the Vajra body, you reveal the mandala of the great bliss of the indestructible 3 secrets. Most supreme of all, Lord of the Vajra transmission, Vajra Master, may you remain for 100 eons. Through the effortless path, you directly reveal unchanging self-awareness, the basic space of great bliss. Caring for the profound key instructions of perfection, glorious Guru, may you remain until the end of existence. Precious successor to the gurus of the 3 lineages, may you remain throughout the 3 times in Vajra form, forever hoisting the great banner of the Dharma of the 3 lineages throughout the 3 realms.